Welcome to the Yes and podcast, a space where we embrace life with courage, purpose, and possibility. Hi, I'm Claire Darr. I'm a former corporate lawyer turned executive coach. I'm a wife, a mom, and a believer in living boldly. Here, we're going to dive into saying yes to what truly matters: family, faith, career, and creating a legacy of joy and fulfillment. Together, we'll explore what happens when we step beyond the limits, ask for more, and say yes and to the extraordinary. It's time to live a life you can't wait to wake up for. Let's get started. Recently, I've had multiple people mention a chapter I wrote. I wrote a chapter in a book that was published last year with 22 other women, and the book is called All Out Impact. I'll link to it below. The tagline is the actionable advice of 23 entrepreneurs on a mission to empower others to live all out, impactful lives. I had the honor of recording a chapter in this book, and I had free reign in what I got to write, which is so wonderful. And in the past week, I've had a few people mention the book to me, so I'm taking it as a sign. And I was thinking about it, and I thought, why don't I just go audible on you and read my chapter? How about that? Would that be okay? I may skip a few little things, but I'm just going to read it for you, and you can see for yourself. And please, if this inspires you, go get the book and read the other ladies' chapters. Every lady in this book is a friend of mine. I got to know them really well last year. They're all incredible women. They've all lived amazing lives and created such beautiful businesses and families and lives, and they are all about having impact. So here we go. My chapter is entitled Making the Most of Your Dash. And for me, impact is making the most of your dash. So what is that? Well, I was born in 1974, and then there's a dash. We don't know what the end date is that comes after that dash. And it's all about what you do in that time with your dash and the impact that it makes. We're all given a great opportunity to steward the time, talents, and uniqueness God has given us. For most, impact means going big or going home. For me, it's that, yes, but it's actually about one life. If one person feels the impact of me living in my purpose, then that is the impact I'm here to make. And it's not one person, because the ripple effect goes on and on. So even if it is just one person, it becomes many. The ripple effect can be so wonderful that we never even know how many people's lives are changed. We can never quantify it. Impact doesn't have to be overwhelming. It can be one person, one life. Looking back over my life, the person who's impacted me the most and specific advice or guidance I got from them that influenced my personal growth and significantly impacted the direction of my professional career, well, it was my grandfather. His name was Charles Hare. He died over 25 years ago. We just had the anniversary of his death, actually. And he was such an influence in my life. He lived through both world wars, which are a big deal in the UK. And much of his influence was tied to how he showed up in life. He wasn't educated, as others would say. When he was 12 years old, he was put on a ship to sail the world as a cabin boy. His mother died when he was a baby, so he never knew his mother. He was one of many kids. They didn't have money or food, and he experienced extreme poverty. He lived a life of lack in many ways, yet he went on to survive the Second World War. He was an air sea rescue man in the Second World War. He taught himself how to speak different languages, play music, and paint. A true Renaissance man. When I met him as a child in his later life, he'd lived this whole life before I came into the world. All I ever saw from him was peace. He had a calm, a steady love of the world. He must have witnessed such hard things in life, but he didn't show up that way. He didn't let it define him or hold him back. What he taught me wasn't through words, it was in how he showed up. He taught me how to show up in a room and be confident. That helped me so much in business as I became a corporate lawyer, often the only woman in a room surrounded by men. He taught me to show up with quiet confidence, being respectful of people, yet knowing that I was there for a reason and my voice mattered. My grandfather inherently respected people, humanity, and diversity. He was ahead of his time. Through him, I also learned to trust myself. I'm very grateful to have spent 22 years with him on this planet. His life shows the importance of how we show up, and we never know who and how we're impacting people. And as I reflect on a moment in my professional life that I perceived as a failure, I want you to know how this experience led to some of my most significant lessons of impact, and also how I've applied these lessons. As I look back on my entire professional life, a lot of learning has happened. I'm in a season of pivoting from working for others in the corporate world to embracing my own business. Acknowledging this wasn't my path is very scary. And I've been on a journey and learned to listen to my intuition and others. Now I've found myself in coaching, life coaching, executive coaching, speaking, and I love it. It feels like I'm waking up and living my purpose every day. What got me here was another business, and without it, I wouldn't have had the capacity and confidence to form my own company and to start to help others from this coaching perspective. The hard part with the other business is that I didn't do well in it. I set many goals and targets over the past few years for that business that I didn't attain. I had lots of goals and targets that on paper I should have reached, and I just didn't. I showed up with the tools I needed, my education, and none of it worked. Yet I saw other people succeeding at it. And it wasn't for a while that I faced the hard realization that this wasn't for me. I wasn't aligned with the business, and it wasn't bringing me joy. It felt like a struggle. Walking away at the time meant failure to me. It made me feel like I was giving up and incapable of doing it, even though everyone else could. I journaled on it, I meditated on it, and I've finally gotten to a peace with that season in my life. It was a really rich and beautiful time, and it got me to where I am today. And I've learned not to look at it like an absolute failure because it wasn't. It was one branch of my path and a catalyst for my calling. And when I look at business, I also look at what practices I can deploy to align with my ethical principles while also balancing profitability and making a positive impact. And so, what I've learned is I make sure that what I'm doing is for the collective good. so that I can focus on the impact of that one life. One person impacted is enough for me. When I form a great relationship with a client and I see their transformation, it's exciting to know that there may be other people down the road who benefit from that transformation, from that one client relationship. The collective good is raised. And I start there. And I remind myself that God is moving me and through me. A lot of this is through God. And I was designed a certain way. I may not never know every piece of why I'm here, but I know that I'm here to collectively help others have an impact and to raise others up. I already see glimmers of this aligning, and I get to have a very successful life and business while having an impact helping others. Whenever I'm doing something and a little bit of doubt creeps in, I think to myself, do the next right thing for the next right reason. Doing the right thing for the right reasons stands the test of time. That's where sustainability comes in. I can keep showing up and know that I'm aligned and on track with my God given purpose. This also helps when things don't turn out the way I would have hoped. I can hold on to the knowledge that I did it for the right reason, and that is so important to me. I've used this when making difficult decisions, such as leaving a job, turning down an opportunity, saying no to someone, and having tough conversations with people. It's sort of my due north. And for me, staying true to your purpose and mission in life sets you on the right path, even if there isn't evidence available to confirm you're on track. When we're here for the right reason, we can be profitable while also keeping people front and center. That will always feel good and win. And when I think about what role partnerships and collaborations play in me amplifying the impact I can have in my business, there are some things that I just think are meaningful. Um, I've not always been a team player. I'll admit it. As a child, I didn't like team sports. I was a lone wolf. I liked swimming and solo dancing. I liked the things where I was responsible and only I had to rely on myself. Whether I won or lost, it was all on me. And my initial career as an attorney rewarded that in many ways. I hate to say it, but a lot of the time, when you're a successful attorney, you are conditioned not to trust others and not to work collaboratively. It's very much a dog eat dog grab for success, especially in the early days. And what can I do? And how can I prove myself? How can I show that I'm a valued person here? And that served me well as a non team player. But deep down, it's not very fun to go it alone and to always have everything resting on your shoulders, win or lose. Over the past few years, I've done a lot of growth work. I've learned to see and really appreciate the value in other people. In the past, I realized I would go into many conversations wanting to win and always needing to have the last word. And that's certainly great as an attorney. It brought success, but it's not a fun way to live. Over the past few years, I've learned to take a moment and get to know people. Really look and listen to people to seek to understand others. I realized that we were all put here with a beautiful, unique blueprint. What if we all come together for the greater good? We can only be stronger. I've learned to go from being a lone wolf to looking at other people, seeing their value, and trusting that we'll have each other's backs. Collectively, we can help others. I don't have to be the one leading the charge or the best of the best. I can play my part and have someone else play their part, and we all benefit from it. There is so much value in other people, and it's foolish not to see that. We are so much stronger together. It's also important to seek out other people who are aligned. We could all be very different and come from different perspectives, But if you're aligned in very similar ways, lean into that and continue to show up around people who raise you up. You have to identify and cultivate success in those relationships, but first you have to seek them out. You know, my business is here to help people, and it's here to help people love and live their lives. So many people aren't. Let's change that. My hope and dream for people is that they get to experience and lean into their desires and dreams and start to dream again. So many of us dreamed as children and then gave that up because it wasn't sensible. I say let's suspend sensible and know that we can live full, exciting, beautiful lives now. We don't need to put off loving our lives until retirement or a certain point in success, money, savings, or relationships. Start experiencing it now and stop accepting mediocrity. Instead, let's challenge it. Look for ways to innovate and get out of your comfort zone. And I wrote back then in August of 2024, this is a season for me to launch a podcast. And I did it. I never thought I would be launching a podcast. I'm leaning into public speaking. I love to talk, yet it makes me very uncomfortable to talk in front of big groups of people. It's not within my comfort zone, but I know that's how I can reach more people and have a bigger impact. Writing a book is innovative for me. I hated writing as a kid because I had to write in school, and so I resisted it. I was made to write as a lawyer. I resisted writing for so long. Embracing that now and that I have a story to tell and that my story is valuable and important will help me impact that one life. And ultimately, my vision is to create enough wealth within my ecosystem to fund a foundation that helps women and girls thrive in life. Thriving looks different for everyone. It's a whole life perspective, from education to mentorship to health, well-being, spiritual growth, and more. I want to provide a resource that women and girls need. If a girl wants to take a yoga class because it will be good for her, I want to be able to say, yes, we have the resources to support you. I want to say yes to people so they can start creating this beautiful life that I've been able to create. That's what's front and center. So how do I get there? What path do I stumble, trip, skip, and dance along to get there? That's what's driving me every day. I hope you enjoyed that. That was my chapter, Making the Most of Your Dash, from the book All Out Impact. It's a group of 23 women who are amazing, successful entrepreneurs, and they're driven by impact. Each of them has a beautiful story. I know someone in this book will connect with you. You may connect with many. Hopefully, hearing my story has helped you here to inspire you a little bit. You know, think about that. Think about you have your date of birth and then you have a dash. What are you going to do in that dash? What impact do you want to have? And you know, I truly believe it starts with one person, one life, each day. Help one person every day, hope, and then trust in the ripple effect that will come over and over and over from that. If you want to get a copy of All Out Impact, I will post a link to it below. Proceeds actually go to charity, and please reach out to me if you have any questions, any thoughts. I love to chat to people about my experiences, and I'd love to hear what you got out of this and continue to pass your gifts along, because you can have an impact. We all can collectively.
Thank you for joining me on the Yes and podcast. If this episode inspired you to say yes to more in your life, I'd love to hear from you. Subscribe, leave a review, and share with someone who needs to hear this message. Remember, life is meant to be lived fully, one courageous yes at a time. Until next time, I'm Claire Darr, cheering you on as you create a life of peace, purpose, and boundless possibilities. Keep dreaming big and don't forget to say yes and